From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the March 29th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Dana Hackett filling in for Anthony Stokes.
And I'm Courtney Robinson. Our top story tonight. An email sent by a UNC English instructor to her class has prompted an investigation of the university's policies regarding discrimination based on race, color, nationality, or sex. Here's an excerpt from the email instructor Elise Crystal sent to her English 22 class following a discussion about homosexuality. In the email, she says, "I will not tolerate racist, sexist, and/or heterosexist comments. What we heard Thursday constitutes hate speech and is completely unacceptable. It has created a hostile environment. I am deeply sorry and apologize to those of us who are now feeling that the classroom we share is an unsafe environment for those of us who feel vulnerable or threatened. I will do my best to counter those feelings and protect that space from further violence." U.S. Representative Walter B. Jones sent this letter to Chancellor Meeser, criticizing the university for not disciplining Crystal. He then contacted the Office for Civil Rights of the Federal Department of Education. Officials there will look into whether the email constituted harassment based on race or sex, and whether the university responded appropriately. Earlier today, we went to Crystal's office in Greenlaw Hall, but she wasn't available. We also tried emailing and calling her, but she didn't return any of our messages. The chair of the English department also did not return our calls. For now, the UNC English department has selected an observer to sit in on Crystal's classes for the rest of the semester. We'll continue to follow this story as it unfolds.
Naval investigators are still trying to figure out what caused an F-18 Hornet to crash at Raleigh-Durham International Airport Friday. The jet crashed during takeoff, and airport fire crews quickly got the fire under control. The crash left smoking wreckage just a few hundred feet from Terminal A. Flights in and out of the airport were only delayed for a few hours. The pilot, Lieutenant Wesley Baumgartner, ejected before the plane crashed and sustained only minor injuries. No other injuries were reported.
Chapel Hill and Carrboro are now major players in the national debate about same-sex marriage. The Chapel Hill Town Council held a public forum about the hot-button topic Wednesday. Dozens of Triangle area residents attended to discuss Councilman Mark Kleinschmidt's proposal to ask the state legislature to recognize same-sex couples who get married in other states. The issue centers around repealing a law that says same-sex marriages outside the state are not valid in North Carolina. Some speakers said the current laws denied them and their partners equal rights. Carrboro expects to pass a similar measure in April. Carrboro Mayor Mike Nelson says it's right for towns to petition the state.
This civil rights issue has percolated up from the bottom, from the grassroots, and it is the civil rights issue of our day, and I feel that we need to address it and be part of the dialogue.
The North Carolina State Legislature isn't expected to deal with the issue until after the November election.
There's a change in how much Carolina employees will have to pay to park on campus. The UNC Board of Trustees has voted to lower parking fee increases for Carolina's lowest paid employees. The new fee structure would lower the year-by-year increase in the price of parking permits for employees who make less than $25,000 a year. The move comes in response to recommendations by the Chancellor's Task Force for a Better Workplace. The change means Carolina's lowest paid employees will see their parking fees increase by only 2.5% a year. In comparison, employees who earn $25,000 to $50,000 a year will face 5% yearly increases. Employees earning $50,000 to $100,000 a year will see parking costs increase by 10% each year. And finally, those who earn more than $100,000 a year can expect to see their parking fees increase by 20% each year.
Have you taken your swim test yet? Well, there's only one chance left this semester, and the swimming pool you normally use is closed. Bowman Indoor Pool will be closed for about 4 to 6 weeks because it sprung a leak. Officials say the leak might be a result of old pipes in the pool. They're working to drain the pool, but don't know when the pool will reopen. The date for the final swim test is April 16th at the Corey Natatorium next to the Dean Dome. It will be held from 9 to 4 p.m. It's your last chance to take the test, so seniors, make sure you don't miss it.
Obesity is a serious problem in the United States. Studies show about 64% of Americans are overweight. Millions of people are counting on one controversial diet to help them win the battle of the bulge. Carolina Week reporter Christy Keck has the story.
Jessalyn Strauss started gaining weight after she went to college.
Started with the freshman 15, then there was the sophomore 15, and I put on about 100 pounds between the time I graduated from high school.
She tried a low-fat diet, but didn't get the results she wanted.
And I lost about 20 pounds, which was great, but that was 1 year and 20 pounds, and I had a lot more weight to lose.
In May of 2002, Jessalyn decided to try a low-carbohydrate diet.
I kind of felt like I would give it a try, and if it wasn't working for me, that I would just go back to what I had been doing before.
But it did work for her. She lost 65 pounds on the Atkins diet. There are a lot of different low-carb diets out there, and they all involve reducing your carbs to reduce your waistline. Nutritionist Jen Ketterly is skeptical.
I, as a nutrition professional, probably would not recommend a low-carbohydrate, high-protein, high-fat diet.
And why not? She says people focus on the weight loss and forget about the possibility of some serious side effects.
Increased risk of gout, high cholesterol, hypertension, health-related concerns like that.
Nutritionist Jenny Favre says low-carb diets work in the short run because they end up being pretty low in calories. But in the long run,
I've never met anyone who has kept the weight off.
the claims behind the low-carb diet may be controversial, but more than 30 million Americans are buying into it. You can now find low-carb products just about anywhere. At this GNC, you can find everything from low-carb cereal to pancakes and even pasta. Marketing executives expect the low-carb industry to reach $30 billion by the end of the year. The low-carb lifestyle is controversial, but for Jessalyn Strauss and the millions of Americans trying to lose weight, nothing tastes better than sweet success. In Chapel Hill, I'm Christy Keck, Carolina Week.
Statistics show about 20% of Americans have tried counting carbs to lose weight. You should always check with your doctor before starting a new diet.
It was a beautiful weekend and hundreds of people were out and about.
But these people weren't out basking in the sun. Find out who they are and why they decided to walk 6 miles between Chapel Hill and Carrboro coming up.
Women's Center, may I help you?
The Women's Center is a nonprofit agency that has served as a meeting place for women in the Triangle since 1979, making it one of the oldest freestanding women's centers in the country. The mission of the Women's Center is to provide a supportive community where all women can inspire each other to grow, both personally and professionally.
I was going through a crisis at home, and I contacted Helpline, and they referred me directly to the Women's Center.
I think the Women's Center is really important for the community because it offers so many different kinds of resources, and if we don't have the resource here, we can find an avenue or a way for women to find the answers that they need.
It is inspiring. It's so exciting to be a part of something that really matters and really changes things.
You can support the Women's Center through membership or by sending a contribution to the Women's Center, 210 Henderson Street, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27514.
It's been 50 years since Brown versus the Board of Education changed the face of not only Carolina's campus, but of schools across the nation. Students, faculty, and guest lecturers commemorated the decision to integrate public schools on Saturday in the Union. Panelists discussed the history of the decision and the impact it has on schools today. Some audience members took notes, but most just listened.
Interested in justice.
Sponsored by several different campus organizations, including the Office for Minority Affairs and the Campus Union Activities Board.
Some Chapel Hill residents walked to class, some walked for exercise, but what about walking to fight hunger? Hundreds of residents participated in the 18th annual Crop Walk fundraiser this past weekend. Volunteers walked more than 6 miles and sold a variety of t-shirts in an effort to raise money to help fight hunger in the Chapel Hill and Carrboro area. Local fundraiser coordinator Deb Baldwin says this year's Crop Walk is different from those in past years.
Some of the residents and guests of the Community House Shelter and the Home Start facility for women and children formed their own team to walk with us this year. And I would say say, you know, not only do we want to reach out to help people, but we also want to reach out to involve people.
For more information about how you can help or to get involved in next year's crop walk, visit our website at www.carolinaweek.org.
Planetarium opened its doors this weekend to more than 1,000 kids wanting to take a trip in space. The Magic Treehouse space mission launched last Friday and gave loyal fans of the book a chance to see their favorite characters come to life. The show follows characters Jack and Annie as they seek answers to questions about the universe. If you missed the show at the Planetarium, you can always pick up a copy of the book from your local library. The author, Mary Pope Osborne, is a UNC alumna.
Well, it's been a great weekend, which means a great weekend for Carolina sports.
Luke Notestein joins us now to tell us more about Carolina sports.
Very, very busy weekend, especially with the nice weather. You have no excuse if you're not coming out to watch the game. So expect to see y'all out at some of these games coming up soon. We'll have all the updates on this weekend's action, but first, here's the sports trivia question. Who is the winningest golfer in UNC history? Is it Davis Love III, Richard Trace, Dustin Bray, or Kevin Silva? We'll find out when Carolina Week Sports returns. Better. Not, I'm going to be very upset. Kevin.
When your children ask where you got married, will you have to tell them over there by the unleaded? When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
I just dropped 32 pounds this year, and boy, do I feel better.
Drop it. See how good it feels.
The 16th ranked men's baseball team battled hard this weekend against number 12 ranked Florida State in the Heels' first home ACC matchup. In a packed Boshamer Stadium on Friday, the Heels came out strong in the second inning. Homers by first baseman Sammy Hewitt and catcher Chris Iannetta helped the Heels play 7 runs. In the fourth, Carolina didn't let up, hitting several singles to advance 3 more runners to home plate, taking the score to 10-0. Freshman pitcher Daniel Bard allowed just 3 hits in 6 innings, striking out 5 Seminole batters. The Noles tried to rally late, but the Heels held on for the 10-4 win. In the second game, big hits came early and often for Florida State as the Noles jumped out to a 7-1 lead after just 3 innings. But in the middle innings, strong infield defense keeps the Heels in the game. The Heels battle back in the bottom of the 7th. Sammy Hewitt drives in these 2 runs, cutting the lead from 5-3 heading into the 9th. But who needs Jif when you can have some Jack? Daniel Wardell blasts this one over the wall in the top of the 9th, ending all hope for a Tar Heels comeback. The Heels give up 15 hits in the 10-6 loss. In the series finale, the Heels were down 5-1 early, but Florida State gift-wrapped the ballgame with the school record 10 errors. The Tar Heels blew by the Noles for the 12-6 win. Head coach Mike Fox says he loves the fight he sees in his players this season.
You know, I think we're just a bunch of battlers. You know, probably the best description. You know, we've got some good senior leadership and some guys coming out of the pen.
After sweeping Coastal Carolina Friday and Saturday, shortstop Emily Price and the softball team were showing no signs of fatigue in Sunday's doubleheader against Charleston Southern. With the Buccaneers up 2-1 in the 6th, Price tied it up with her 3rd homer of the season. But with the bases loaded, it was Anna Evans' double to right center that put the Heels ahead of Charleston Southern 4-2. Pitcher Crystal Cox didn't give the Bucs a chance to come back, striking out 3 batters in the 7th, and the Heels grabbed the first game of Sunday's doubleheader. Carolina came into the second game with even more energy. Wow. A 2-run single and a double put the Heels up 3-0 in the first. Junior Ashley Allen pitched a 6-inning no-hitter in only her 2nd start of the season. With 5 runs in the last 3 innings, the Heels forced a mercy rule and sent the Bucs home early after UNC's 8-0 victory. The softball team heads to South Carolina on the 31st to play Furman. 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, not exactly the time to be competing against other teams, unless you're the women's rowing team, which took on Georgetown and Indiana Saturday at Lake Wheeler in Raleigh. It's a choppy day on the water, but that doesn't stop the Novice 4 from pulling out a win. The Hoyas 4, well, just trying to beat out the safety boats. Georgetown makes up for it in the Varsity 8, though, by a wide margin. The small crowd likes what it sees. UNC pulls away from the Hoosiers in the second Varsity 8 for 2 wins in the 6-race event, as the Heels enjoy a beautiful day on the water. Staff at the SRC huddled together in December to come up with a theme for this year's fitness event. What did they come up with? Well, let's just say it took some of us back to our childhood.
I can listen.
I can cook.
Good. I can coach.
Kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
I can drive.
I can paint.
I can dance.
A little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
I can read.
I can help. You can help. Call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313 to find out about community drug prevention programs.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
For the 1.3 million children living with AIDS, we can do more than just learn the facts about HIV. Through Caring for Kids 101, a campus outreach program, college students nationwide are helping to end this deadly disease. Half of all newly infected people are under the age of 24. Your assignment, get involved with Caring for Kids 101.
Every child deserves the chance to live a healthy life. Support the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation.
Aeropostale. You think of fashion, not sports, right? Not if you're the women's lacrosse team. The Heels played host to 2 Big Ten teams this weekend in the Aeropostale Challenge. First up, the Ohio State Buckeyes on Friday. The Buckeyes get on the board first, but Beth Ames teaches Ohio State a very basic rule. Do not leave me wide open. I will hurt you. Brooke Derringer follows suit, and Carolina jumps out to a 6-2 lead. On the defensive end, the Heels are swarming, which has the Buckeyes coach, well, simply shaking his head. Allison Higgins makes her defense look even better with the score, as Carolina doubles up the Buckeyes 16-8. 1 down, 1 to go as the Heels take on Penn State Sunday. 10 seconds in, Beth Amos hurt him again. Kristen Horty refuses to let anything by her. She's like the Hamburglar in the net. And with a Melissa McCarthy score in the back of the net, the Heels take a 5-0 lead and don't look back. Second half, Beth Amos just padding her stats as Carolina runs away with this one 13-4. Allison Higgins says it was a very important weekend for the team.
Feels great. I mean, Ohio State and Penn State are great teams. They're great athletes, and we came in this weekend really wanting to play our best because we knew that if we didn't come out here with our best game, it would have been hard to win.
In its 4th game against a higher-ranked team this season, Carolina men's lacrosse looked to defend their new number 4 ranking against number 2 Maryland on Saturday. The first half of the match was a nightmare for the Heels, committing turnovers, allowing 7 goals, and scoring only 3. Second half, different story. Carolina picked up its level of play in the 3rd quarter, netting 5 unanswered goals to take the lead 8-7. But Maryland responded like the number 2 team in the nation to take back the lead 10-8. The Tar Heels scored a goal and won the following face-off, but turned the ball over. Maryland killed off the final seconds for a 10-9 victory. Jeb Prosser says the first half did end the Heels.
Overall, our first half, as Coach put it, really stunk. So second half, we really came out, showed a lot of heart. 3rd quarter, we won that quarter. We played well that quarter. 4th quarter, we tried our hardest, but I mean, overall, they were just a better team today.
Carolina is 5-2 overall and 1-1 in the ACC. Both of Carolina's losses have come by a single goal at home. The 9th-ranked Tar Heel women's tennis team must have eaten Lucky Charms on Sunday as Carolina defeated the 23rd-ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame 5-0. Junior Aniela Mojic upset the number 10 player in the country. UNC swept Notre Dame in doubles. With the win, the Tar Heels broke a 3-match losing streak. Carolina plays NC State Wednesday at 2:30 in the Cone-Kenfield Tennis Center. While the 19th-ranked Tar Heel men's tennis team squeaked by Georgia Tech on Sunday 4-3. UNC remains undefeated in the ACC at 4-0. Carolina will play its final regular season home match Wednesday when the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest visit Chapel Hill. Nitro, Turbo, and Siren, not to mention steroids and mullets. Who will ever forget the American Gladiators? Certainly not those students at the SRC who recently competed in a Tar Heels take on the popular 80s television show. Gladiators ranged in size from "this is my dream job" to, well, what was I thinking? Wow, that is a big guy. And contestants competed in two of the most popular Gladiator events, Joust and Powerball. The Gladiators didn't take their jobs lightly. Freshman Rich Lamb can attest to that, but says it's all in good fun.
It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed a little joust action, but the backslide on the pedestal, I guess, broke, and I just took a little spill, but looks like we'll be all right.
After Joust and Powerball, the competition moved outside where the tug-of-war and obstacle courses awaited. Camp organizers say the event was a success and hope to make it a yearly happening. Ladies, American Gladiators, by far one of my favorite shows growing up. I hope you guys got to watch it when you were younger.
I got in a little bit of trouble for trying to make my sister a gladiator.
Oh, really? Yeah,
well, I remember it growing up as well, so.
Cool.
Yeah, good show.
Cool. Well, do any of you guys have an answer to this week's trivia question?
If it's not about Tiger Woods, then I don't know.
I definitely don't know a lot about golf at all, but
no guesses?
I'm going to try C. Maybe?
That's
I'll
correct.
stick with Dana.
Dustin Bray, last fall, the senior from Asheboro, passed alumni Davis Love with 7 victories. So good job.
Lucky guess, Dana.
Guess so?
Well, Carolina prides itself for being a culturally rich campus. This past week was Africa Week, and many different organizations celebrated by holding programs to educate students about African culture.
UNC's African organization Oasis ended the week with a bang Saturday at its 19th annual Africa Night. Carolina Week's Bobby Wisnett has that story.
Africa is thousands of miles away from UNC Chapel Hill, but the Organization for African Students' Interest in Solidarity, or OASIS, brought Africa a little closer Saturday night. OASIS President Oyinkosade Gabade-Alabi says the group is committed to educating the Carolina community.
And our purpose here on campus is to educate the campus and also the surrounding areas about Africans, our culture, and continent.
The program began with an African dinner, complete with cuisine that could be found in almost any African home. Oasis performed to a sold-out audience, but Oasis member Adjo Adafo says they are used to having a crowd.
I think more people come every year, and I think they leave with something. They leave with a sense that they learned something.
Oasis performed a skit called My Big Fat African Wedding to show different reactions to Africans marrying outside of their race. They also entertained through African storytelling and showed the best of African fashion.
Oasis members say the Africa Night isn't just a dinner and a show, but a way to represent their culture to the Carolina community.
The purpose of Africa Night is, of course, spreading awareness to the campus community, inviting the campus community to see Africa in different ways, whether through song, through dance, through drama, just all the things that make up the color of African culture.
Audience members say that it's important for non-African students to attend programs like Africa Night.
I think it's good that we can all kind of broaden our horizons and just come to know a lot about other people.
You know, definitely be, like interested in other cultures and the world around us, and not so, sheltered and confined to what we know.
The Carolina community can look forward to an even more spectacular show next year, as it will be Africa Night's 20th anniversary. In Chapel Hill, I'm Bobby Wisnett Jr., Carolina Week.
Looks like it was a fun and interesting program.
Yeah, it looks like students were able to learn a lot about the African culture, and it's activities like Africa Night that keeps Carolina's rankings so high. One of our recent rankings was Best Value University.
That's right. The Princeton Review will release its 2004 America's Best Value Colleges book Tuesday, and UNC Chapel Hill is in the #1 spot. The rankings are based on more than 30 factors, including academics, tuition, and financial aid.
Our campus isn't on there, our beautiful campus?
Well, the campus is beautiful, and that's what normally brings a lot of people to the university. With the master plan and everything, they're trying to continue to advance things, and hopefully that will continue to bring more people to the university.
Well, it sounds like we've got a great report card, and that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for joining us, and have a good night.
Good night.